and all. I wanted to know like what you know about Splunk, what have you heard about it, have you ever used it, or what use cases you are aware about it, like what it can do. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah.
We know that we use Splunk to Splunk is used to cyber security. You can use Splunk to analyze the data,
Okay.
to transform data to action.
Okay. Yeah. So
Hello.
yeah, so partly you are correct. So we can analyze the data and all. So basically, we have all the machines or tools, technologies which generate the data. So if we, for in an organization, there are multiple technologies which are used, and if you want to have a centralized logging system where all these different tools would be sending the data and where would be analyzing it, managing it. So that's where Splunk comes. So it's not just used only for in the cybersecurity domain. It can be used in an application monitoring domain, infra domain, observability domain, or various other domains we can use. So it's not just limited to IT industry or specific industries. In multiple industries, we can use Splunk. So it is capable to understand structured as well as unstructured data. Structured as in DB logs or in a specific format. Unstructured that it could be in multiple formats or different formats. Splunk is capable to do it. Now, so let's do an overview of it. Just a second.
Hello, in my company, we are using Splunk for transfer of data. But I would like to know why Splunk is so famous. What's so special about Splunk? Can you explain before we start the?
Yes. So as I told, it's just not a cybersecurity industry or any specific domain here. So if you want to analyze a vast ton of data or it's in a different format, there is no other tool that is capable to do it. So means as we go, as the organization grows, the level of data, the retention cycles, each country has a different retention period. So the amount of data, as we call as big data, it grows in size. So Splunk is capable to handle it as well as analyze it. So only it's not important that only just we want to store the data. It should be fast in analyzing the data. It means it should be fast in searching the data. So I want to search for past 1 year, 7 years, 6 years, or anything. There is no other tool in the market that can do the jobs quickly. So the underlying system which Splunk uses to store as well as analyze data, it's a proprietary form, and Splunk is good at it. So you must be using it for as a SIM, like for a SOC monitoring. But with the same use cases, we can use for application only. So one tool can do multiple
for transfer of data. We are doing like transfer of data through Splunk to a third party. But I don't understand what's the role of Splunk in the transfer of data.
Okay, so transfer of the data, it must be like you would be first normalizing the data. So I'm not sure like what use cases you're using for, but if you're transferring to third party, so at the middle level, what Splunk would be doing is Splunk would be normalizing the data. Means it would be taking data from multiple systems. It would be correlating the things, and after that, it would be sending to a third party where it would be accepting data from multiple tools. So that's why. You must be using Splunk.
Hello.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Please, my name is Leopold.
Okay.
Can you please speak slowly when you speak? You know, our English is not very good, but the problem is you have some accent. You know, but try to speak like slowly. You know, it would be good for us to understand everything you say.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Just
for me, concerning Splunk, I never use Splunk. I was Citrix administrator. I have many time work on server Windows Server for administration. But I want to know. I know that Splunk is on stools, right?
Yeah.
I want to know that how what is the I don't know how can you use it to manage a server for this cyber security.
Okay. So you are using us. You have worked on a Citrix servers. So the Citrix servers are generating a couple of logs, right? So if you want to analyze the data, anything, so you would be using a Citrix means there would be some tool or anything where you would be seeing all the errors or all the failures, right?
Yes.
So now at the Citrix level, if there is a dependency on another tool like a desktop machines and all, and if you want to see like where the errors occurred, so in the Citrix it won't be possible to pinpoint a error or pinpoint a message. So like what has happened, where it has happened, you will have to debug the logs, store it somewhere, then analyze it. So it would be time consuming, right? But
Yes.
but at Splunk level, you would be having the data in a real time. You would be creating a knowledge objects on it, like you would be creating some queries where you can pinpoint the error. So like where it has happened, at what time it has happened. So if there is a user involved, you would be getting a user data also. So uh, at a main level, you would be able to get an idea like what has been wrong in the system.
My last question.
Yeah.
You told that Splunk can normalize, can correlate the data.
Yes.
Splunk, you can use Splunk like ETL.
So at the basic level, we can use as a ETL. So it would be organizing the data. It has a own compatible model. We called it as SIM, common ingestion. So in that we would be normalizing. So if we are taking logs from multiple firewall vendors, so each vendor must be having its different log format. Some should be saying that the source IP is a full form of SOURC source. Some must be saying SRC, so SRC. So at the Splunk level, we can normalize it. We can have a common ingestion format where during the ingestion purpose only, all these fields will be getting normalized.
Okay, you can begin. You can start.
Now,
me convainc.
So as we know, we have lots of tools which we use on a day-to-day basis. Each generates some of the logs. It could be like troubleshooting logs, audit log, debug log, application related log, or anything. So it would be a CSV file, it could be a text file, it could be like even if the files are not generated, so it at the graphical level also it could be showing something like this has happened and all. There are SaaS applications now which are cloud based applications. So there are tons of logs or tons of data being generated during compliance purpose. It gets hard to track everything. There was a need where we have a centralized system where all the things, all the devices send a data where we store it, analyze it, and create a visualization it. So machine data, it could be anything, logs, any type of logs or any other type of data where we record all the activity. It could be customer behavior, user transactions, machine behavior, system errors, or anything. So just understand that we collect all the data. Now here, so these are the just a few types of data which we have. So there could be a data from the scripts, there could be a virtual logs, email logs, database, application, DNS, physical security logs, Windows registries, server logs, or any other logs. So Splunk is capable to ingest everything which we have. So the methods would be depending, which we would be understanding later on. But just understand that Splunk is capable to ingest each and every type of log. Now, after we are saying just ingestion, but after ingestion, what happens? So after ingestion, we can search the data. We can create a knowledge objects. Knowledge objects as in alert reports. There could be dashboards, or we can as well as send it to the third party, or we can do if you want to send it to a cloud or any other thing, we can do. So basically, in the main box out the box, we can create an alert on it, create a report on it, create a dashboard on it. We can also search the raw data. So it's a common interface for all the data. So if the logs, means all these organization logs are ingested in Splunk, then it would be a common interface. Getting my point? So once it's common interface, we can create a queries on it where we can be getting operational intelligence. We would be getting analysis of it. We could be getting, if you want to write a machine learning queries on it. So we want to predict some things. So we want to do anything based on this data, we can do it. As you are aware, machine learning is growing field now. For machine learning, we have algorithms which predict the things. For what is for the machine learning is required, they require all the historical data where they can test their algorithms on. So how you can get historical data? Splunk is a solution where you would be ingesting all this data, and on that data you can have a machine learning. Now,
excuse me, why Splunk is good for machine learning?
So on machine learning, Splunk can be used for machine learning. So if you have other tools or other technologies, you can use that. But they won't be providing a single solution for all the technology logs. So there could be like on some of the you could having some of the tools which have only a firewall level logs, but they don't have another level logs. So if you want to correlate it, fire level log with the network logs with the you can say IDS IPS logs. For all these logs, you want to correlate it, and based on that, you want to create a machine learning algorithm. Then Splunk is the solution for it. Getting my point?
Yes, thank you.
Now, as we are aware that each organization having a big data problem because systems are running 24/7. Each second, thousands of logs are getting generated. Storage is an issue. Each country has its own retention policies due to compliance. For credit card business, it's mandatory for to keep let's say India, they require to keep a 7 years time frame to keep a personal information logs. So there is a issue here. So where this data needs to be stored. So there where this is where the Splunk can help us with. Now here we can see like what capable of. So machine data as in it has own OSM model. As in we have web servers, app servers. They would be generating the app logs, like how the app is functioning, how is the processing happening, or everything. All these things are created in the web servers, app servers. Then we have multiple operating systems, so they have its own kernel level logs. In Linux, we have etc vars and all system level logs or upgradation logs, anything. So all these logs are generated in OS. On virtualizations, as we say, we have a Citrix, VMware. So they have all its own type of logs at the hardware level, network level, storage level. So each of the systems have their own logs. So if you want to do a troubleshooting, you will be logging into this tool and you would be checking for it. You would be doing analysis of it. But if you want to have a correlation between the storage and network, you won't be able to do it at your level because you are just having access to the storage. Now, there was a need where common solution is required. So hardware network virtualization, if it's if the error or if the issue is interrelated, if you want to pinpoint it, so it was a network error or it was a hardware error. So if you want to correlate it, then we have to ingest both the three types of device at a common place where there could be normalization and we could be searching. So this was the issue before Splunk, which they were having. So like you get an error that user is not able to access it a system. But is it a DB error? Is it an authentication error? Is it a network error? So it takes a couple of hours, or you can say days, because each team is involved. The user would be registering a ticket with the IT team. IT team would be saying that it could be a VPN or network error. Then this ticket flows into multiple domains where we can't pinpoint a thing like, okay, this is the issue or this is the error. So what was the issue there? There was a slower resolution incident response. There was a high cost of ownership. So there was no end-to-end situational awareness. So there was no solution like if we can avoid it. So there was a need to correlate all these things. So what if we correlate every architecture in every tools which we have into a single logging system? And then this pinpoint errors could be resolved. So that's where the benefits were quicker root cause analysis, increased situational awareness, lower business risk. So till now you are getting it. So why the Splunk was created, or what was the issues before Splunk? Hello.
Yes, totally. Thank you.
So let's have an interactive session. If you have any doubts, you ask that time only. So like I won't be only speaking it. So just let me know your questions and all during the class only, so that we can have a one-to-one, means a whole interactive session. Now, so here this is a Splunk setting. So we have all these log files, configuration files, message files, alerts, metrics, scripts, any changes related, any tickets. So everything we can ingest in Splunk. So what we can do is we have a networking. For networking, what is required? syslog, SMTP, NetFlow configurations in the database, audit logs, query logs, tables, schemas, and applications, all the scripts, hypervisor, cloud, guest OS, hypervisor. So these are just the basic things at Linux level. If you want to have a performance monitoring, so we would be requiring all the statistics like CPU usage, memory usage in real time. We want to find a trend and all. So at this level, we can ingest that also, scripts, customer facing data. We can ingest all type of data into a centralized system. Now, once the data is ingested, what we can do is we can search on it. So for searching, Splunk has its own language called as Splunk programming language. It's a little bit of the syntax looks similar to the SQL, but it has its own commands, commands its own significance. We would be going into the all the commands which are required to the day-to-day functioning, where you can write your own queries, you can create queries for analysis, or uh, creating a use case purpose. So we would be going into the multiple syntaxes. So once we ingest the data, it provides automatic chronology. Like the latest event is at the top, then the second last event, and third. So here we can have, like, if something CPU spikes occurs on SQL server, then only if the alert gets triggered, then we don't have to wait for all these things. We can directly troubleshoot it, because if the CPU spike is dependent on multiple the SQL server is it's dependent on multiple things, then we won't be knowing. But if at the same time, if we are in the real time, if we are able to get an alert, then directly the DB team can handle it. So that's why all these another types of alerts, we would be knowing that where the root causes have been handled and if it's solved or not. So as I said, we can have a alert in real time. So at the back end, the query would be running, and then we can trigger an alert. So we can send an email to a team. We can run a script, or there are multiple functions which can do after alert is triggered. So let's say we have some external data from Active Directories, or we have CSV files or any other things. So with the logs which we have and with the third party data which we have, we can have a correlation with that also. So the terminology here which we use is called as lookup. So it's basically a type of a VLOOKUP, or you can say we are using external data to enrich our events. So we can get a clear picture. So as we say, we have data from all the tools. So what we can do is we can create reports which can go to VPs also, security teams also, website managers also. So for the backend queries would be different. So at the website managers or with the help desk, they require the technical data. So we can send to that them for all the analysis purpose. So how many transactions had happened, how many sales had happened. So we can send to the sales team. So Splunk is just not used by security teams or just L1, L2 level teams. It can be used from CEOs as well as VPs to all the CISOs and all. System admin develops, everything can use Splunk. They can create their own reports. So all the uh, hierarchy of management can get a real-time picture what's going on. Now, once we have a data, we don't just store it. We create operational intelligence on it. So we do analysis. Okay, so I have a sales data. So how much sales was there? I can create a trend. So at what time it was less, or what time it was more. So at a business hours, like let's say at 10 to 11 a.m. it was more, and the servers are not capable to handle it. So I can get a clear picture. Okay, the sales are high. I would be comparing with my CPU spike. Okay, the CPU spike is also happening and the server is not able to, I can directly increase my server size and all. So everything can be correlated where we get operational intelligence. So each and team can do their analysis on it. So we have a real-time visibility. We can get live dashboards. So on the real-time data, the dashboards will be working. We can correlate multiple logs. We can have monitoring, alerting. We can, if there are performance issues, we can create a dashboard for it. We can have transaction levels. We have SLA tracking also. Historical analysis we can do. Trending, operational historical patterns, compliance reports, the historical data we can fit to the machine learning also. All this we can do as a search and navigate. So these are the capabilities. So according to the use case, according to the requirement, this capability can vary. So Splunk comes at a standalone level as well as distributed level also. So even if the data increases, we can scale our infrastructure. Now we have a database also, multidimensional database also, but Splunk is quite different from that. It's a time series, like each log would be having a time. And if you want to search data, so we would be doing a time series data, means we would be searching out on the time for last 5 days, last 10 days or anything. So it can handle massive volume, fast navigation. It can have all the correlations are possible. We can ingest all the IT system, non-standard data, unpredictable formats, everything we can ingest it here. Now, relational database, multidimensional, they have a format or structure of the data. In that only that is required, but in this one, that is not the case. So we can use a map produce also, where we can process everything which we have. Now, so this is a local instance which I have downloaded. So on the as we move ahead, we would be creating our own instances. We would be using cloud. We would be seeing cloud as well as on-prem also. Just the installation things are different, but the all the visualizations are same. Just the capabilities at the cloud level, which we don't have access to the configuration files, but we would be seeing like what we can do at the configuration level and as well as from the graphical level. So this is a main thing, like how Splunk looks. Here all the apps and this is as its new instance I have installed today only, so I don't have any data or any dashboards in it. But here all these apps we can create a third party, or we have a Splunk base. It's a common marketplace like a Apple Store or Play Store, where all the Splunk apps where users create, where we can reuse that app or anything, or Splunk has created for all the for Cisco Fire routers and all, where we can use that also. So these are the apps. Let's go. This default app which comes. So here there would be, as we create dashboards, so the dashboards will be getting listed. The alert section alerts would be getting listed. So this is just a raw environment. So that's why we don't have anything right now. But this would be the home screen which we would be looking at now. Let me show some of the things. So I'm not. Zoom. Just a second. So I wanted to share a new screen. Okay, is my screen visible now?
Yes.
So these are some of the snippets which I was creating today on my project. So as you can see, here I am working on identity part. So on from the various systems, I am able to check the failed logins. So if I drill down, I would be getting at which system the logins are happening. I have a failed.
Please. This screenshot or this picture is small. You can comment dire, grandir.
Unzoom it.
Zoom it. Yeah. Thank you.
Shall I zoom more or zoom less?
More, zoom more.
Okay. So I have a failed login. So I have ingested multiple system logs, and from that I am able to create a failed logins over time. So I can create a threshold on it. If it's more than 20, I can create an alert on it. So we can have a brute force also. Like
you cannot see.
That's it.
Vous voyez?
No, that's another thing.
You cannot see?
No, we cannot read.
No.
We cannot read.
No.
No. It's very please put it up.
Okay, fine.
It like you share a PPT.
Okay. So I guess it's in my local drive and it's protected. That's why I'm not able to share it, but I will try later on. So here, are you able to see right now?
Now you see.
Yeah.
Yes, Splunk Enterprise screen. Okay. Now, what I was showing was, so there were a couple of failed logins. So I had a trend of it. So like how many, like for last hour, how many users had failed their passwords. So based on that, we can have a brute force attack. So if a user is typing wrong passwords, or user is trying to log in couple of times, let's say in 1 minute, 10 minutes, then we can create an alert on it. So from the security purpose also, we can say like, okay, this user has been trying multiple times, and we can pinpoint an error or any other things. Now, at the HKR, what we would be covering is we would be having 41 modules for the 30 hours. So there would be daily 1 hour sessions, which would be training as well as practical. So you all guys would be downloading a Splunk in your environment, and we would be just first of all we would be explaining. I would be explaining you the terminologies, the use case, and all. Later on, I would be showing like how it's done, and you would be practicing on your labs. So at the last minute, so we can have like what has gone been wrong. So we can have all the practical sessions in which you have a hands-on experience, because if the topics we need to have a why it's used. So I just don't want to explain you the definitions of it. I want you guys to practice it so that you can remember it better, and that's why you can create your own use cases on based on it. Okay, so we have discussed little bit of overview Splunk. So we would be later on we would be going in the terminologies like what are the roles in Splunk, like what is admin responsible for, what is developer responsible for, what is user responsible for. Then we would be having a basic searching as I explained. So once the logs are ingested, we have to search the logs if you want to create anything. So I would be explaining like how to create a search query, how we can filter it, how we, what is the time span used for, how to complete, how to manage a job search, every other things with the searching level I would be explaining. Then once we have data, we need to extract the fields. So how, what is the field, how we can extract it and everything, I would be explaining that. Later on, we would be going into the knowledge object section where we would be seeing how to create as well as schedule searches. Then we can say alerts, reports, dashboards. So everything we would be seeing in that. Then for enrichment, what are the things like for normalizing, what are the things required? So what are the tags, event types, why it's used, why the macros are used, what are the workflows? So we would be going into that. So this would be covering your all the user level sections where you would be getting introduced to the functioning of Splunk, or what are the options available with us. Then we would be going into the in-depth commands of Splunk, where we will be using many commands like table sort, rename, rex, rex, as well as other commands. Then for transforming and reporting. So the transforming sections. So let me just give an overview. You have a credit card data. So a credit card has 10 digits, 12 digits. It depends on the vendor. But your compliance says you can't store a whole credit card number. Only last 4 digits can be stored, or you have a customer mobile number and all. So in that we have to enrich the data, means we want to transform the data. So where we have to hash it or anything. So before storing the data, how we can transform it, how we can do it, we would be explaining that also. We would be having a real time examples of it. Then we would be seeing all this, what are the visualization options available in the dashboard. If we have like how we can create a line graph, bar chart, column chart, or any other visualization option, we will be seeing that. So here, if you want to have a calculations like addition, subtraction, or anything mathematical, if you want to do, you want to formulate anything, you would be seeing in this module. As I was focused on more of correlation, if you have multiple the tools, how you can correlate it. Module 15, we would be seeing that. Data lookups and lookups as an enrichment with the third party. So how we can do that, how we can create our CSVs, how we can utilize it with the current data, we would be showing in this section. Then we would be seeing the reports, dashboards, and what are the options in it, what option make has its implication. We would be seeing that. From the here, we would be going into the admin part, where uh, it's not just a straightforward thing to ingest the data. We have to create a parsers. So we want to let the Splunk know like what would be the syntax of the data, where you have to break the event, where the timestamp would be located. We have to create our own configuration files. So we would be seeing that also. So before the session, I was talking about the CIM for normalization. So this is a chapter for that common information model. So we would be seeing the overview as well as how we can normalize the data. Now, the section 2 starts with the administration part. So here at the administration level, what are the things required, like licenses, for the important features, hardware and conditions, like what is the infra required and all. We would be seeing that. Then we would be seeing the installation. So installation we would be doing before only, before starting our course. So I would be explaining you how to install in a Windows, how to install in a Linux. So all this model 2 will be covered at start only. Then we would practicing the standalone, but I would be showing in how the distributed management console works, how we can create a Splunk app. So this was the app section I was talking about. So these were the default apps, but how we can create our own app. So I would be explaining you that how we can manage it, how we can use a distributed server, as in if we have a multiple servers and if we create an app and we want to push it to the multiple apps, you can think of it like an Ansible. So how we can do that? So I would be explaining that also. So now the main part comes is Splunk indexes and uses. So indexes means how the data is stored, in which format it's stored, how the searching works. We would be going in depth of that, so you can understand the flow of it. We would be seeing the configuration files, deployment management. We would be seeing the cycle of the indexes, like how the data is stored, how it's moved from one bucket to another, user roles. So you can see here, this is a vast domain. So this is a vast chapters which we have. So it's cover in-depth session. It's just not giving you a picture of basic things. You would be getting whole knowledge, like you can manage, you can administrate your own distributed environment. So we can see the user roles and authentication. So as you can see, you know that Splunk has access to the users, like users can log in. So how we can authenticate it, how we can use a multi-factor authentication. So everything we would be seeing in MFA. So at the administration environment, we would be seeing the we would be ingesting the logs. We would be having parsing concepts, indexer and forwarder. We would be seeing now at the production level. We would be working on the universal forwarder. So I will be explaining you what is that, how to configure it. So we have a Splunk search engine. We have all input methods which we have, like Windows networks, how we can input at. So for Windows, there is a separate input method. For Linux, there is a different. For network, this method different. So what are the different methods which we have? So here we would be seeing the manipulations, data filtering, previewing, parsing. All these things would be covered in the machine data parsing. Then at the clustering implementation, so no one explains you about the clustering till admin level. So it's a part of architect level, architect certification. So we would be covering that also. So we would be clustering, means grouping our indexer, search heads. So how the clustering works, what is the behavior of it, how to select a captain node, and everything we would be seeing in this cluster implementation. So you would be covering everything with the practical hands-on from start to basic. So any doubts till now? Hello.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you got till now any doubts?
No doubt. It's just two things. The first thing is where in the where in the curriculum where do we learn to do queries, Splunk queries? I missed it.
So we have a module 2 where I would be explaining the basic searching, and then we have Splunk search commands in module 10, where we would be going into each and separate commands, and based on that commands, how we can create a query.
Okay.
And that queries we would be using it, utilizing it in the reporting commands. So basically, query are the commands where we have to use them side by side. So we would be covering that here. So here we have like reporting commands, single value commands. So each and so according to that, once you get to understand the commands, these commands would be will be used in the queries.
And how are we going to practice? Where, I mean, is it like Splunk? Is it a Splunk we can use at home? Can you
would be
explain?
using you would be using Splunk at home. I would be helping you to install on your systems, where you would be having a free trial license for 60 days. So for 60 days, you can practice at your own level. You can ingest the data. You can create all these queries. You can use freely. There is just a limit of 500 MB ingestion. So till 500 MB, you can ingest daily data.
So it's only 60 days.
Yeah,
Correct?
after 60 days, you can again request a development license, or you can reinstall it. So with the trial license.
Rubash.
Yeah.
For this training, we only show how to use Splunk, or you want take for business scenario to teach? Because if it's to show us how to create report, how to do filter, or all those things, is not.
So we would be ingesting the business logs. Like we would be ingesting some sales logs. We would be ingesting some firewall logs.
But
So yeah.
My question, I want we want to learn which daily job of some guy who work in Splunk.
Yes.
You understand me? You don't want
Yes.
to learn how to create something or create another thing. No, all daily. If you complete to teach all this model, after that, you explain how daily work for some guy who learn who work in Splunk.
Yes.
I want to know for Splunk what the function. Like you have. I take you some example. For SAP, you have a developer who work in ABAP.
Yeah.
You have functional who work in logistic or financial.
Yeah.
Okay, you have administration who work in server, SAP, and do all manage the user on the server. For Splunk, what the type of function we can apply after the training?
Yeah. So here we have Splunk developer roles and responsibilities. So some of you people could be system admins right now. Some of you could be a sales guys. So each and every chapter is going to be related to you. So if we are managing, or if we are ingesting the AD logs, so there could be a system admin who is managing the users on day-to-day basis. He is creating a user, deleting it, or managing its structure. So that concept would be applied to him. So we would be seeing how Splunk can be administrator means how the administration works. So if someone wants to go into the administration domain, so we would be covering that. If someone wants to do just a monitoring part, so he is a part of a SOC team. So he is a part of a monitoring team. So how you can monitor the things, how he can export the things, how he can run a basic queries, how he can pull the data. So that chapters would be related to him. So as you are from different backgrounds, whole this curriculum is based on different aspects. It's just not related to an administrator or a developer, because each and every team would be requiring both this knowledge.
No, for daily activity,
Yes.
you are administrator, your job in Splunk.
Yeah.
No, you do monitoring, you do manage the user and work in report.
Yes.
All those activity you do it.
So I manage the instances. So I have a distributed environment. I manage all the instances. I work with different teams where they have their use cases. They explain to me that, okay, this is the things they want. So I work on the ingestion part. So I ingest the data, ingest the tools. I create a Splunk queries on that. That is covered in the development concepts. So after that, I want to if the requirements come from a compliance team, for auditing team, okay, they want some part of data, so I provide the data to them also. So my own job is a mix of everything.
Now, it's mix of you mix all legacy
Yes.
or all server.
Yes.
Okay, I want to know when you complete, if some guy completes Splunk.
Yes.
You it's important to him to complete for another software, or only with Splunk you can have a job?
So in the market right now, with the only Splunk technology, there are thousands of Java available.
Java?
So yeah, jobs available. So
Job
Splunk has,
server?
yeah, Splunk administration, Splunk developer, Splunk consultant. These are the job titles. You can search at the LinkedIn or any other job portals. You would be seeing multiple jobs.
Only for Splunk?
Yes,
They
only for
cannot
Splunk.
ask you Splunk with cyber security, because I know that you have some topic for training on Splunk, who release Splunk with cyber security.
Okay, so here we would be talking Splunk with the overall domain. So with the cyber security, with the application, which each and everything. So
Okay.
after you complete the course, you would be a Splunk consultant where you can provide Splunk services to your organization, to different partners and all. You could be you could be working as an administrator, you could be working as a developer, you could be working in a cyber security team as a monitoring expert. So the technology which you are learning, it can be used in various industries. Just based on Splunk, you can get a job.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Please tell me, for completing this training, can we make some international certificate about Strong or not?
So you don't have to know, there are nothing mandatory topics. We would be covering each and thing from the basics, from architecture to the everything. I would be explaining you with all the commands. So there is no necessity for you to know any other tools.
No,
Okay,
she asked if
it's not necessary, I know, but do we have in the market the international certificate about Strong?
So I'm not able to understand you.
I'm asking that if you have some certificate with Strong.
Yes.
Okay, what's the name of the certificate?
So you have a Splunk user certified certification, Splunk power user, Splunk advanced power user. You have Splunk admin. So
okay, my question is that after this training, we will be able to do which level of this certification? We will be able to do which level for this certification?
So you will be able to do four certifications: Splunk user,
yes.
power,
Yes.
advanced power, admin.
Yes. Okay. So you are training how many hours totally in your for this training? How many hours?
It would be around 25 to 30 hours.
25.
30 hours.
Okay. I see that Splunk is a very big tool, and I have to improve my level every day with this tool. Can you tell me which kind of machine because I want to buy some specific machine to install a virtual server and install Splunk. Can you tell me the configuration of good machine?
So what right now what we will be doing is, on the Windows machine, on our home systems only, we would be installing a Splunk. But if you want to have a distributed environment, then at least 12 CPU cores should be supported, means at the VM level. So you can use a AWS for that instead of locally hosting. So with the basic configuration, at least 1 TB hard disk, with the inbuilt which system comes, you can purchase it. There won't be an issue.
Okay.
I have a. Are we going to install Splunk directly in our computer, or do we need VirtualBox to use Splunk? That's
So
my first question.
you can install directly on your machine.
Okay, and I would like to know what as you work in real time. I would like to know what are the different issues about Splunk you are having by day to day. Can you tell me a little bit?
So as we are monitoring logs from different systems, there is an agent installed. So some of the times the agent is running, so system is running, but the logs are not coming. So that is where the troubleshooting happens. There could be your own Splunk instances where you have a clustering or multi-site where one instance goes down or something is not working. The backend configuration was not working. So these are the daily on troubleshooting which you have to do. Plus, yeah, as a developer, you have to work with the different teams, understand what is the requirement, how the thing works, and according to that, create a Splunk query. So on a day-to-day basis, the job varies. So at the
So
troubleshooting level,
how do you do the troubleshooting when there is a problem or in the log, for instance? How are you able to
yes. So there
solve
are
it?
some troubleshooting commands which we have, which we run and see where what is the error, what is the debug error, and we get an idea like what is happening. Is it a network issue? Is it a bandwidth issue? Like so some limit is getting hit. Is there a for file format issue? If the Splunk is not able to access that file, is it a permission issue? So based on that errors, we are able to understand it.
And just my maybe last question: how like we saw in the model like the OZ model that we have. So how do you know in which level you have to look for the issue when something happened? You know, like there was like network infrastructure. How do you know where you are? How do you solve that?
So we can have a SLAs for it, where that's where our dashboards or alerts come in. So there is a for each and every error there is some message code or error code which we have. So before triggering that only, so whenever that error comes, we can trigger an alert. So at the first level only we get an insight. So this is going wrong, and based on that we can correlate the things. So this is where the log analysis is important. So each and every logs which we ingest, so we should be able to know that which error code is responsible for what.
Mr. Doshi,
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
for Splunk, for this training or for Splunk, you don't have coding, no coding there, or you have coding.
There is no coding, but we have our own language. So this language is based on the commands. So
The language is common like Linux, like Linux,
yes, Linux or SQL, but it's
like SQL.
it's easy to learn. It doesn't have the command is responsible for its backend function, so you don't have to remember the backend functions.
Okay. Those the coding is small for the
Yes.
issue of.
Yes.
Okay.